I think we're going to get started. So I'm so thankful that all of you could be here. It means so much to me. Hopefully you guys all filled out the QR code. We're gonna get started. Learn about period poverty. Okay, so a little bit about me before we get started. I'm Caroline Arndt, if you don't know who I am. I'm 18 and I'm heading off to college in just about a week, which is really sad. I'm going to Roanoke College and I'll be majoring in biology and minoring in disability studies. And then I'll also be playing for the women's soccer team. So I'm super excited for that. For Girl Scouts, I've been doing Girl Scouts for like 13 years, which is a long time, since I was like a little daisy. And I'm working on my Goal to Work project right now. So that's basically when the girls are asked to find an issue in their community and then like fuel it by their passions and then find a solution. But it has to be sustainable. So it has to last just like after the couple months they work on it, has to last for longer than that. So this is my project. Okay, so why period poverty? So basically I went on a senior high mission trip between sophomore and junior year. We went to Chicago, which was so much fun, and my leader was Pastor Corey, and we were purchasing items for a food bank, and on the list was things like canned goods and dried goods, things like that, and I was like, oh wait, that's regular. And then at the bottom of the list there was like feminine hygiene products, and I was like, oh, like that's surprising, why is there feminine hygiene products? But it makes sense when you think about it because people living in poverty need that as much as we do. And they aren't able to get it because they aren't donated, whether it's to do with the stigma of periods or if it's just to do with the prices. So that's kind of where this passion kind of got sparked. And from there, I just took it and ran with it because I was like, you know what, I have to do my Goal to Work, like this is the perfect time for that. beautiful child. And so I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So that's where that all started. Okay, so what is period poverty? So basically period poverty is when women in low income situations don't have adequate access to feminine hygiene products or education about menstruation. So basically they don't have enough money to purchase these products, or they are on SNAP or like food stamps and they aren't able to have extra money to reach the amount of money to buy those products. One cycle costs around $20 and there's one cycle per month. So after a while that kind of adds up. And if you're already in a low income situation and you have to like spend $20 more when you need that money for something else, that can add up over time and be super stressful. Period poverty can differ from different settings. In more developed countries, it might be about the products. In underdeveloped countries, it might be about the clean water or the sanitation, how clean everything is. So it just kind of depends where you are. So this is a video about, this is in the, oh, hello? Wait, pause. Okay. This is about a lady in the UK, and it kind of goes through her experience as she lives in period poverty. And so we'll see kind of like the emotional effects of it and just like this, the setting as well. Hold up a minute. There we go.
I never said anything. Yeah, I pulled part when we were on the ride. You were on the ride. I don't see we played for you last time.
Yeah, but you can pay it on the second time. You can pay it on the second time. I pay it on the PC. See the back.
Yeah, the bus is coming in it. got a mark.
What?
No, like a mark. You know, on your I weren't looking her out. I just thought I'd tell you. Look here, just use this. Sorry. So, Sarah says you've not been in class for a bit.
I'm sorry, love. You know, I've been working doubles, but we had the meter need topping up and it's just a bit tight again this month, so... Chloe, I'm making do as well. We'll sort something next month. I promise.
Been away, have you?
Yeah, that's stuff, huh?
Right, yeah, same. You'll be alright, yeah? My sister, she was like, you know, like the same. Anyway, don't worry about the jumper. Shut up. Nothing. Yeah, get me the jumper. No, it's not my jumper. You said cause it's not my jumper. You said cause it's jumper.
A pretty heavy video. But it really goes through all the emotions that have to do with living in period poverty. You know, you don't think about all the emotional weight that you have to carry. So although that video and the statistics following it were from the UK, it's very similar in the US. So it says, in the US, 4 in 5 students have missed or know someone who has missed class due to a lack of period products. So in school, some of us know the feeling of like being uncertain, whether you know where your next product is coming from or if you have enough for your cycle. And I couldn't imagine the feeling of that being so young, being in school, trying to focus on what you're doing, your sports, your education, and having to worry about that too. So the absences that can build up in school can prevent them from getting their education, and then that can lead them to further the lack of success in the future because they can't have the right education, they can't get the right jobs and everything. So it's really big in schools, but it also affects people outside of schools. So when you get out of the educational systems, there are less organizations and programs that can help you receive these products. So sometimes the women are kind of forgotten and kind of fade into the background. In Charlotte, period poverty is more pronounced among Black and Latino communities, and 1/4 of teens and 1/3 of adults have had trouble affording period products. And that speaks a lot. That's a lot of people. Nobody should have to worry about where their next products are coming from. So why does it happen? So basically, there are lots of programs that help people get food or help people in low-income situations. SNAP, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and WIC, which is the same thing but for women, infants, and children, only cover the cost of food. So nothing to do with hygiene, which can be like paper towels, soap, diapers, and then obviously period products as well. So these people who can't afford food don't get any extra help for the other stuff, which is almost just as important. And then food banks don't usually get these period products because of the stigma. People don't really want to donate it because you don't think about it, like I didn't think about it. And then also, like, it costs more than canned goods. Like, I know we've all probably donated food to a food bank and it's been like a box of cereal, a box of pasta. But you never really think about the other things that these people might be in need of. And then, like I said, periods are a taboo subject. People tend to shy away of like talking about it because they think that it doesn't affect them or because it's not important. But it is, we need to talk about it, definitely. And then also taxes on period products discourage people who want to donate them because it's just like, oh, more money, you know? And they're doing something good for their community, but it's important to think outside of just a general box of just food. So like I was saying, and like we all saw in the video, the effects of period poverty can be quite vast in physical and mental effects. So physically, if they don't have the right products, they could be using toilet paper, like in the video, rolled up toilet paper, or they could be using rags, which might not be super sanitary. And so that can lead to a lot of like physical like illness and just not good stuff. But also mentally, it can, like we saw, it can cause people to miss school, and then also if you're outside of school, miss your job or like events with your friends and things like that. And after a while, that can make you just start to like hurt because you can't do the same things as your friends. Or if you want to go out with your friends, you're like, oh, I can't, because you can't help yourself because you don't have that luxury of having period products. So you can live in a constant state of fear and worry, which can just lead to you feeling really defeated and ashamed. But that's what we're here to fix. That's what we're here to do. We're trying to help women feel confident in themselves and their bodies. Yeah. And then we're gonna do a little Q&A. So I have a couple people here to talk. So if you guys wanna come forward, I'll introduce you. Okay. We're gonna see. Okay. So I have Corey Millette, who's a pastor here at Matthews City Methodist Church. KT. For Hearts for the Invisible Charlotte Coalition, and Jesse Coward for Matthews Free Medical Clinic. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit more than what I just did, that'd be great.
You did such a nice job there. I felt really good about that introduction. Well, it is great to see you all. Thank you on behalf of Caroline's youth pastor for being here with her tonight. We here at Matthews are very proud of this young lady. Are incredibly grateful that she has been a part of this community with us here, and we know that this is just the beginning, right? She has much more work to do, not just around this, but she's going to impact this world in some incredible ways, and we are thankful for that. But my name is Corey. As Caroline mentioned, I've been a part of the Matthews community here for 15 years this August, and so I've had the privilege of watching Caroline basically grow up in this church, which is a real gift to me. And like I said, we're just excited to be here and support her in this initiative.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm KT Harcourt Medina. I'm Kate Taylor, but then when I got married, I hyphenated, so it sounds like a law firm. So. KT. But yes, I'm with Hearts for the Invisible Charlotte Coalition. We are the lead street outreach agency for Mecklenburg County. We work with unhoused individuals and families all throughout the county. And yeah, I did not know Caroline before this, but really excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and great job. I think about what I was doing as a senior in high school, and it wasn't this good.
Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm the lead social worker at Matthews Free Medical Clinic. So I see all of our new patients, all uninsured, low-income people throughout Gaston, Mecklenburg, and Union County. I do mental health therapy and intakes, and just try to help people with any mental health and social needs that might come up, including financial needs like this. So
Yeah, thank you for coming. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask a question. You guys feel free to go for it. Okay, so what has been your experience with period poverty in your line of work?
So as Caroline mentioned earlier in her introduction, we encounter a lot of period poverty in our mission work that we do here locally in the community, and then of course around the world. I have had the privilege of serving with students in lots of different places across the globe, and it doesn't matter where you go. Period poverty exists there, and Caroline has touched on a lot of the reasons why, and what can be unique based on the demographic of the world that you were in at the time. But a lot of, even right here in our own community, we see folks who have needs, right? And we also recognize that when kids can't go to school, it also means they can't come to church. It means they can't go and hang out with their friends. It just impacts every area of their life, along with women as well. Just grown adult women have the same struggles. It's not just unique to teenagers, right? And we see very clearly how often people are very quick to grab that can of corn off the shelf to give to a food pantry or to a local clinic or something in our own community, because, right, every time even we go to the store and purchase period products, it's not lost on you, I'm sure, when you brought donations today, how much that cost you, how much that impacted your pocketbook. And it's really important to us in our mission work that we do with our teenagers here that not only do we hand out regular hygiene kits with soap and shampoo and conditioner, but we challenge our students to bring period product donations before we leave on any of our mission trips to create period product kits that they can also hand out in addition to sort of those basic hygiene products that all human beings need. And we've been very blessed that whether it be a female packing those kits or some of our male students, they have all done it with grace and dignity. And I have been very proud to watch them do that and share those with anybody who needs them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So for us, we have a lot of individuals that do have access to products, which may be surprising, but a lot of people will donate hygiene kits, or they will donate period products like to our organization. But where we see kind of the biggest need is what she was referencing about sanitation. So there are no bathrooms. If you are living unhoused, you do not have access to public bathrooms, right? That was one of our biggest points of contention when the city of Charlotte recriminalized the ordinances about public urination and things like that, is there is no other option. And so we have a lot of people who have very unclean, they're using the same pair of underwear for a month at a time. So even if they do have access to some products, there is not a lot of like sanitation, not a lot of like clean ways to utilize the products. And also, like, our physical address is in Uptown, so there are a lot more resources in Uptown. We cover the entire county. If you come out to Matthews, which I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's been a large increase in unhoused individuals in the Matthews area, right? Most of them are living in the woods. So some of you might be surprised, if you go walk through these woods, you're going to come across large encampments, tents everywhere, like little mini cities in the woods. But again, no toilet, no running water, nothing like that. And so that is where we really see the impact. There's a woman who came by the other day. She has had 3 strokes. She has a lot of challenges in general, and she had bled through the one pair of pants that she had. And so, she came and she had like pads and some products, but she had no other clothes. And she wanted to take a bath. We don't have a bath. We have a bathroom that we gave her access to. We had a pair of jeans that we could give her. And we gave her, of course, some more, additional pads and tampons and things like that. But the reality is, when she left, she has nowhere to clean up after that for, days, weeks at a time. And so that's typically what we see.
So our demographic is more so of people that are working and housed, a little bit different, but there are still definitely a lot of people that cannot afford the period products. And like you were explaining with the stigma of it, I can only recall right now one time in my 4 years that someone has asked me for help with period products. Yet anytime we get any donations at all, they always are taken almost immediately. We put them in the bathrooms, we put them out on patient shelves, and people just grab them constantly. So the need is, of course, there, but people aren't asking for it. And I would have to guess it's the stigma with it, yeah.
And all the products you guys collected are going to the Matthews Free Medical Clinic, so I know they'll be used very much.
Yes,
and very
thank
well,
you so
yes.
much, everyone.
So you kind of mentioned it already, but who have you seen period poverty affect? Like, what range does it go to for you?
I mean, I have experienced it right here in our own church. I mean, I have had students who have come to me at a youth group on a Sunday night who have asked for period products with shame. You know, girls who I have known almost their whole life embarrassed to ask for period products. And I constantly think if you're embarrassed to ask somebody that you know and that you know loves and cares for you, sometimes to ask a complete stranger is very scary. So I would imagine you're probably spot on about that in your organization. And so I think a lot of times we think it is those who are just unhoused, but there are so many people, you know, probably that you go to school with every single day that need support in this area, and you may just never have known it.
Yeah. I think, so in a past life of mine, I was a professor at ECU, and I taught a gender and sexuality course, and so there was a lot of students, and so I think, you know, something that Caroline mentioned, but it's kind of a less talked about part of period poverty is the lack of education. And so I cannot tell you the number of students who disclosed to me that, like, when they started their period, they thought they were dying because they did not have any education on what it was, and here I am just bleeding for days. I must be dying. And again, taboo, don't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to ask anyone, or I'll go hysterically to the school nurse, not understanding what's going on. So kind of a different pocket than I'm working with now, but just kind of showing, you know, impact across the board.
Yeah. Kind of another add-on with it is when people do take the products, a lot of them will come to me or someone else and just ask, like, do you have a bag that I can put this in if they're taking the bus? Or it's like, I don't want to carry this like on the bus or wherever. So and I have seen the demographic of the Black and Latino communities, like you mentioned. There's definitely an increase in that area as well.
So you kind of already mentioned it, but if your organization does anything specific to combat it, something that we can take into our own lives, something like that, a suggestion or something that we do.
Yeah, I mean, I think a great suggestion is to talk about what you've learned here. Make sure you're sharing this with people who are, you know, in other pockets of your life that are not here tonight, to help Caroline to raise awareness and to educate people. And, you know, if you've got daughters or girls in your life, you know, talk with them. I think that's so deeply important that they feel educated, that they feel like there are safe people to come to talk about their bodies and what's going on with them, because not everybody has, you know, that mom or that mom figure in their life. And so sometimes we, even the men in this room, have to, you know, acquire a role to be open to when a girl asks for period products, to, you know, greet them with a smile and help to comfort them and support them. You know, my girl dads in the room, I know you get that, right? You understand what that entails. And I think that that's just really important. And, you know, if you're somebody who carries hygiene kits in your car or stoplight bags, put some feminine hygiene products in your car as well, so that when you encounter those females along the way, you can share that gift with them, in addition to, you know, regular hygiene products or crackers. You know, they're all equally important and are very much needed.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, we offer hygiene kits. We have the products. We have them out in our bathrooms. If anyone comes to our door, we give them to them when we take kits out. Our street outreach workers typically have products on them. And so, you know, making those donations are great to organizations where you know they can use them. I would also encourage you, if you have the kits in your car, which I love, everyone have a kit in their car. But also, if you're donating or if you're making kits, include underwear. Because that is sometimes forgotten, and that is definitely part of, like, the sanitation aspect, is having clean underwear, because there's not a lot of opportunities to wash clothing. It's particularly for the unhoused. Yeah.
I can't do too much most of the time in my role, unfortunately, because we do rely so heavily on donations that I can't ask, hey, do you have enough feminine hygiene products? Because the answer is yes. well, I don't really have that much of a resource. Now I do, which is very helpful, so I can start asking that question more. But even like Nourish Up, which is the county's biggest resource for food, they ask on the referral sheet if someone needs diapers, but they don't ask about feminine hygiene products. And I do know that several women do end up wearing like adult incontinence or diapers for period products as well. So just that stigma difference there, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys so much for answering my questions, and then I want to open it to you guys if you guys have any questions for us, me or any of them, about anything. Yes.
So when you're putting a kit together, obviously they have to carry everything they own. So what is a reasonable amount to put in there? Because I don't want to hand them a box that they have to navigate with, right?
No, yeah, I appreciate that. So, so usually like a large Ziploc or something, whatever you can fit into there is great. If you have like little, like a little bag or something that they can like throw over a shoulder, then those are great too. But a Ziploc, most neighbors are, they have some place that they call home, and so they're typically like able to carry it, a small amount and then like take it home. But I would say, good rule of thumb is whatever you can fit into a Ziploc. Yeah.
And then also to speak on that, I think you talked about like discretion and like having something that you can't see through, because if some of us in this room didn't want to talk about it, I can't imagine, like carrying like a clear bag, but obviously like, I know what you're saying. Like, what can fit into a Ziploc?
What can fit into a Ziploc,
right.
Yeah. And,
like
and a lot of them may carry like a backpack or something on it that they can stick it in, so things like that. But certainly, the most coveted thing, I swear, is like a grocery bag that is like a cloth grocery bag that they can keep stuff in. So if you have like extra of those or something, then keeping your kit in a bag is always great.
Even a plastic grocery bag covers
it'll cover
what's in it. It's better than nothing, really. So.
Yes.
This is a question for Caroline. As you found this passion for period poverty and the little bit of awkwardness and uncomfortable conversations you had to have with your peers, how have you overcome those challenges?
So honestly, I feel like sometimes I kind of just jump into it, but it also depends on like who I'm talking. I would say with girls, for me, just on like who I am, I think I'm like open, so I just kind of go for it with girls. But with guys, it's definitely a little bit more difficult to talk about. So you're like, oh, like what are they thinking right now? But I just like kind of remind myself, like, I'm not like trying to make people uncomfortable talking about periods. It's about how we help women who we interact with every single day find comfort in themselves. So I kind of remind myself of the purpose, why I'm doing it, instead of like worrying about what other people are thinking. But sometimes that's hard, especially if I don't know the person very well, because I'm like, oh gosh, because like the taboo and the stigma, like people you'll feel judged. But it's important to remind yourself, like not everyone. Every woman goes through it. Yes. And it's important that they know about it, because I had no idea, and I had spent 15, 16 years of my life not knowing about it. So like it's important to talk about. So that's what I did. Yeah. Thank you. Any others?
I don't really have a question, but I was just going to say, even elementary school age children get their period now.
Yeah.
Our niece got it at 9, which I had never. I was like, are you kidding? What are they putting in our milk?
So as early as 7, you can
Get out.
Probably take my And when does school start talking about?
5th grade. Yeah. But parents can sign to say that they don't want it to happen. Right. And in the high school, they get a letter. Former high school teacher. They get a letter at the beginning of school with all the other packets, with all the other stuff, and I try to explain to them this is without consent. So if the parents sign that form, then we have to send that to the nurse. Then the nurse cannot answer any questions that child has about anything. And so what do kids do? Here's all my stuff, you need to sign everything. And so we sign it, and then so they turn them in, and I go, does your parent want you to not be able to talk about sex? Miss Johnson, did you really just say? I'm just asking. And so I go, would you like to take it home and have that discussion? And so I would like to take that home. Because I can't do anything with that paper, that's not ethical. But they could go home and have that conversation, whatever, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so they can't even talk about it. So I can imagine in elementary school how horrible that would be.
Yeah, change definitely starts with talking, conversation, educating people for sure. Any last questions? Yes.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you mentioned as part of the Gold Star objective is more than a one-time impact. Is there anything you could share with us about how we can help this keep going?
Okay, yes, of course I can. And I'll talk more about it later too, but I'm launching a website later too that has a bunch of information. So I'll have this slideshow, the posters that I used, the designs and everything, so people can do their own drives and replicate what I've done. And so that'll help with the sustainability. And then also just talking to people as well. And then also I'm filming this too. So if you want to show them the video, share it with your friends. Like I said, the best way to make change is just to be educated. So yeah. Any last ones? Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We're not quite done yet, guys. We have a couple more. Okay, so there are lots of small groups working to make change and impact the community. So there are the Diaper Bank of North Carolina is doing a project called Period Project, actually. And so they will hand out period products to women who come in with asking for diapers. And then also a little bit in some schools. And then also we have Girl Flow too. And they work to end the stigma of just periods and how people don't want to talk about it. And then they also have discretion bags, which include period products that they help with schools. Yes, I have a representative from Girl Flow. Yay! So yeah, feel free to ask anyone who is up here talking or over here questions too after. But there's also educational systems. So in the UK, the video we watched, they have now made all period products for students free, so you can get your period products through the school, and that's government funded, so that's super cool. And then here in North Carolina, the Feminine Hygiene Products Grant Program, basically it allotted $500,000 to counties in North Carolina for the schools. Union County, which is what I was in, they got $5,000. But like I said earlier, it's $20 for each girl per cycle. And if you do the math, that is not enough money to help enough girls. So like I said, there's a lot of people trying to make an impact, but it's up to us to fill in the gaps. And then Scotland is also the first country to offer free period products to everyone. So that's super awesome. And there's apps and stuff where you can ask for a drop off and everything. It's super cool, super awesome. Okay, so how can you guys make a difference? So the main thing, like I was saying, tell others what you learned today. Talk with your friends, talk with your family, talk with a stranger even. And then you can also speak to or email local politicians, because their period products are taxed, and they're taxed as a luxury, not a necessity. And so that's something that should be changed. That is something that really needs to be changed. So if you want to talk to your local politicians, there's a lot of stuff going on with the bills and everything, and that's a great way to make a big change. And then on my website, like I was saying, there's an explanation of how to host a drive. This, all I sent out was Evite, and you guys showed up and you showed out. I'm so happy. You guys did such a good job. So it's gonna be easier if I have the things there, so I have the posters and all the information. That way you guys can do your own if you want to. And then also don't be afraid to talk about it. So share the details, share my Instagram, my YouTube, share the video, share the information. And that way we can try to stop period poverty as a community. Yeah. Okay, that's it, guys. If you guys have any extra questions, I'm gonna stick around, obviously. So come up and ask me. Please get more food and more drinks. And follow me. Follow me on Instagram. Okay, and then also one last QR code form to fill out for the after, the post-seminar questionnaire. If you guys could do that right quick. But thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you, Caroline.